Hello guys, the moon is here and we are back with another MK Mobile character review, today featuring Classic Reptile. As usual guys, please note the date when this video has been recorded because a lot of things may have changed since then, and if you're not aware of the matrix I'm using to evaluate characters, you can find it on the top right corner of the screen. So without any further ado, let's put Classic Reptile to the test. Classic Reptile guys was added to the game with update 1.18, which happened in the end of May, year 2018, so we should be expecting some very good stats out of him, so let's check them. His attack is 58,685, which is the 9th highest in MK Mobile. The hit points, they're 128,064, the 3rd highest in the game. The toughness is 45,360, the 17th highest overall, and the recovery is 41,580, which is the 20th highest in the game. The power generation is 130%. So for his stats, Classic Reptile gets 24 points out of possible 28. Chameleon Charge, this is the name of Reptile Special 1, actually it looks quite different than all the other Reptile Special 1, which is awesome. What you need to know about the ability is that first, it can be blocked by the opponent, however it can be cast from distance, even at long range the ability will connect. It has Poison as debuff, it is lethal, it consists of 3 mini attacks, and it has the vertical or horizontal swipe as minigame. When it comes to damage, the minimum damage of the ability is 19,365, which is the 15th highest in the game, and the maximum damage is 38,731, which is the 14th highest in MK Mobile. So let's check once again the properties of the ability. It can be blocked by the opponent, it has Poison as debuff, it can be cast from distance even at long range, that will be perfectly fine. It is lethal, it consists of 3 mini attacks, and it has the vertical or horizontal swipe as minigame. So for his special 1, Reptile gets 10 out of 13 possible points. Special 2 of Reptile guys is called Swamp Grab. What you need to know about this special attack is that first, it is completely unblockable, it has Poison as debuff. It can be cast from distance, but unfortunately just from short range, because at mid range and long range the ability will miss. After all, it is a grab, so it is a really gray area. Please be careful when you do special 2 of Reptile. I would recommend always to do it when you're close to the opponent. The ability is lethal, it consists of 5 mini attacks, and it has the Bubbles as minigame, which is unfortunate because in my opinion this is one of the hardest minigames in MK Mobile. When it comes to damage, the minimum damage of the ability is 48,414, the 11th highest in the game, and the maximum damage is 96,829, which is the 10th highest in MK Mobile, and this is really something because this special attack is an unblockable grapple, and usually unblockable grapples don't deal a lot of damage. So let's repeat once again the properties of the ability. It is unblockable, it has Poison as debuff, it can be cast from distance, however it is safe only at short distance. The ability is lethal, it consists of 5 mini attacks, and it has the Bubbles as minigame. So for his special 2, Classic Reptile gets 14.7 out of 19 possible points. Extinction Event, this is the name of the X-Ray of Classic Reptile, and in my opinion this is one of the best X-Rays in the game. I'm not saying it because it deals the most damage or because it looks awesome. The reason why I'm saying it is that Classic Reptile has regeneration on his X-Ray, which is incredibly useful. As you know, the regeneration is going to be applied to all members of the team. In addition, the X-Ray of Classic Reptile can be cast from distance, which is also good. When it comes to damage, the damage of the ability is 118,132, which is the 16th highest in MK Mobile. Once again, the X-Ray has regeneration as buff, and it can be cast from distance. So for his X-Ray, Classic Reptile gets 3.8 out of 4 possible points. And the total amount of points he gets for his special attack adds up to 28.5 out of 36 possible. Probably it is just me guys, but I'm really not a fan of the basic attacks of Classic Reptile. I do believe that, for example, Kraken Reptile or even Noxious Reptile have better basic attacks when it comes to speed. However, if we're talking about chaining, Classic Reptile is really not good. He never pushes the opponent back after the end of the basic attack, and sometimes his animation when he goes back to original position is really slow and leaves him vulnerable for counterattack. So with all that said, guys, don't get me wrong, Classic Reptile has good basic attacks, but they just don't feel really great. So I'll be giving him 4 points for speed and 3 points for chaining for a total of 7 out of 10. Once again, I do believe that the other reptiles perform better when it comes to basic attacks. And when I say better, I mean slightly better, not like much better. So once again, 7 out of 10. Pure Toxin, this is the name of Reptile's passive. Basically it is divided in 3 parts. The first part is that every time when someone attacks in, he has 88% chance to get poisoned, and once poisoned, the second part proceeds, the Outworld teammates have 80% critical chance against this poisoned opponent, and the third part of the passive says that Outworld teammates are immune to poison. Now, let's check the first part of his passive first. It is actually very good versus characters who rely on regeneration like Ravenous Melina, Spec Ops, Scorpion and so on. Plus the free poison damage over time is always welcome. The only drawback, why 80% and not 100%, I really don't understand. For example, MK11 Scorpion has 100% chance to put all 3 enemies on fire on tag in. So why Classic Reptile doesn't have 100% chance to poison one opponent on his tag in? It doesn't make any sense. It should be 100. Anyways, it is not a big deal. The second part of his passive. It literally means that once poisoned, everyone will die to Reptile Special 2 or to any of his teammates Special 2 because of the 80% critical hit chance, and that is huge, really huge. And the third part of his passive, Poison Immunity. Remember when I said that Classic Reptile can counter regeneration focused teams? Well, with the third part of his passive, he can aid them as long as they're in his team. For example, you can use Classic Reptile and Ravenous Melina in one team, and Ravenous Melina can never get poisoned, so nobody can ever stop her regeneration. That's really useful. So in general, what do I think of his passive? It is a great passive. The only issue I have with it is the 80% chance for a tagging opponent to get poisoned. And another thing, I fully admit that high critical chance is great, but let's face it guys, now the lethal blow is the big thing. In addition, there are so many items that can increase your critical hit chance. Anyways, I'll be giving 18.5 for Reptile passive. I regard this passive as one of the best in the game, however somehow I don't think it deserves the full amount of points. It is just one of those very useful passives that are just not a game changer. I'm sorry. This is actually the only drawback of Classic Reptile's passive. Classic Reptile is just an Outworld character, so he gets 1 point for classes and 0 points for tagging attack. Okay guys, we reach the part of the video where we have to decide whether Classic Reptile is a good character, so let's take a look at the bigger picture. He has very nice stats, extremely useful special attacks with his special 2 being unblockable and quite deadly. He has good basic attacks and amazing passive. Does he miss anything guys? I don't think so, he's really a great character. And this makes me actually very happy as Reptile deserved at least one good variation. Because all the other reptiles in this game are pretty underwhelming. I believe we can all agree on that guys. And this brings me to the next thought. And it is if there's anything I dislike about this character. Well, probably the only thing I don't like about him is that I don't find him that fun to play. Sorry, this is why I'll be giving him only 2.5 out of my 3 subjective points. I just find him kind of boring sometimes. So with my subjective points guys, Reptile scored 81.5 and we can label him as an amazing character. We have another card in the game who managed to cross the 80 points line. Congratulations to Classic Reptile, once again 81.5, and this is an amazing character. Okay guys, when it comes to the gameplay, Classic Reptile is not really a good starter because his special 1 is not that great and his special 2 is really amazing. The special 2 is the bread and butter of the character. Even though it has this annoying minigame called the bubbles, it is still very good special attack. So in a way he doesn't have great synergy with the Devastator, which simply means that they are much better openers. Please avoid putting him on spot number 1 in the team, guys. When it comes to the character he's good against, I would say that he's good against all regenerating characters such as Unstoppable Jason, Ravenous Melina, Spec Ops Scorpion. And of course there are characters who are tough matchups for Classic Reptile, such as Dark Raiden, Classic Lucane for the obvious reason that the poison doesn't really work against them. Punkassi, a very tough matchup because she's going to power drain him and make him slow. Assassin Jade, obviously he cannot perform combo enders or special attacks on her. When it comes to the best items, this is really easy for me because every time when I'm using him as the main damage dealer in the team, I'm giving him Rusty Chainsaw as weapon because he needs really the block breaker equipment. Without it he's still good, but you need to time your basic and special attacks very well. If you don't do that, then you're risking of being one-shotted, unfortunately. In the armor slot I give him Earth Elemental Face Mask because I need him to spam his special 2 all day long, that's the point of him. The accessory goes to Bloody Voodoo Doll. In my opinion, Rusty Chainsaw, Earth Elemental Face Mask and Bloody Voodoo Doll gives you amazing advantage when it comes to spamming special 2 in the game. And as the fourth item, Rat Hammer. With these items, guys, he has 100% critical hit chance and he can get to special 2 in seconds. And on top of that, his special 2 goes for about 40% of its original power cost. So you can really do it over and over again during the match. And we got to the teams, guys. Now, my favorite team in Classic Reptile is with Reg Devourer, Ravenous Melina and Classic Reptile. This is the ultimate poison team because Classic Reptile gives you more critical chance against poison opponents and Reg Devourer increases the damage you deal on the poisoned opponents, which means that Melina will be just destroying everybody, and on top of that Melina is increasing the damage of the poison by 100%. So really great team. The only drawback, it consists only of diamond characters and that's unfortunate. The second best team with Classic Reptile should be Classic Ermac, Venomous Devourer and Classic Reptile. Basically this team is all around Venomous Devourer and her passive, because every time when somebody tags in he gets poisoned, and Classic Ermac's passive lasts for 20 seconds, which means that for about 20 seconds Venomous Devourer will be dealing between 200 and 400% of her basic attacks damage, which is incredible. The third team, Mournful Kitana, Shao Kahn, Classic Reptile. This is the team which is all about the unblockable special 2, which will definitely crit. Really good team, guys, use it, it really works. The only drawback of this team is that you cannot really use the ultimate equipment set on Shao Kahn, but it is what it is not a big deal after all, because you have Classic Reptile there. And finally, guys, you can build a very viable Monk team using Reptile. For example, this should be something like Monk, Classic Reptile and any other Outworld character, let's say another Reptile. Reason being is that Classic Reptile has regeneration on his X-Ray. So it should be not only a Monk team, but any other X-Ray team that you can build around Classic Reptile will be very viable because of the fact that Classic Reptile will heal the entire team once he gets to X-Ray. Okay guys, Classic Reptile. What do you think of him? Do you like him? Do you dislike him? He actually scored 81.5 on our scale and we labeled him as an amazing character. As usual, guys, if you want to see more reviews, you can find the playlist on the top right corner of the screen, and if you want to see which is the next on-demand review, you can find the list in the description of the video. See you next time, guys. Take care.
All too easy. Perfect.